G'day there. My name is Ozysturm, a country Victorian gamer of Star Wars Armada, Star Wars Legion, X-Wing, many other games. As you may have seen from my most recent channel update of end of June, I have received some commissions that I'm working on, and this is my first video in doing those commissions. This will be concentrating on the Star Wars Shatterpoint clone troopers. Now, as you may have seen from the June update, they've already been undercoated. So I will be talking about the processes beyond that. Enjoy. So as you can see, I have already painted up a version of Captain Rex and also selected some appropriate colours for him and also my clone troopers. Then I've gone on the internet to actually select an image, and this is the basic design that I will be putting onto my clone troopers. So to start off with, the first colour that I need to do is all the undershirts, which will be done in this matte black from Army Painter. The reason why I'm using this matte black is because it's slightly thinner than some of the other Games Workshop and other black paints, which means that I'll be able to get a nice thin spread in some of those areas, like the eye sockets and also the underarm areas, which will allow it to be more smoother and less needing to be further refined with inks or with washes later on down the track. Once we have done, we then move on to the lower part of the legs area, the exposed area, and also around any other of the exposed undershirt, like under the armpits, around the back of the leg, the elbows, any knee joints, etc. And while I'm doing this, I'm also trying to concentrate on the actual model itself. Is there any difference between this one and the other clone trooper at the same time? Of course, once I've done enough on this model, then I move on to doing the same process on the second model. So now we're going to move on to do some of the markings using this electric blue colour by Game Colour. I'm going to do this blue on the likes of the shoulder pad, the helmet, knee pads, gauntlets if necessary, any markings that I can see from that image on the computer where that blue needs to be. And I do like using this Game Colour electric blue because it's quite nice and light, which means that it will be able to show the actual model details, or which is built in by the plastic, a lot better. I also note that during this entire process, I'm starting from the most deepest part of the model, namely the black undershirt, and going towards the top layer as best as possible. This helps me in two ways. One, it helps me to define the model, but also it helps me to later on to do a little bit of the cleanups that I need to do. Sometimes I will make mistakes, and sometimes I need to use that dead white, watered down ever so slightly, just to confirm some of the, more so the straight line areas that I need to do for some of the markings. And you have to be very careful and slow doing this process. And of course, now that I've cleaned it up, I'm going to fast track it and do the same process for my other models. Now that I've done the models, you can see that I've painted the bases and quite a lot of the other parts. You'll also note that I've painted the weapons and I've used this Warplock bronze for the look. I find that it's quite nice and it goes on, although slightly black, it will come back like a greasy or a nice little bit of sheen metal, but coloured black like most of the Star Wars weapons are done. And I just decided to use this colour for a lot of my Star Wars weapons, both in Star Wars Legion and also in the Shatterpoint. Obviously there will be some weapons that I choose to paint in the various gunmetal type as well. Now we need to get on with some of the more intricate detailing that we need to do. Seeing we've only got Rex that has got his face exposed, we need to do the pupils of the eye. For this, we have to get a nice thin amount of black onto the brush and put it onto his eye, just as seen. Now, this obviously it looks like he's very much got Bugs Bunny eyes in many ways. It's very large, it's very powerful. So we need to actually close off the eye using this Cadian flesh tone. And we use this after we've painted just to define that eye a bit more by going back over the outer shape of the eyelids, and that draws some of that, covers some of that large dot of black and actually makes it slightly better. I'm also decided to leave his eyebrows quite not visible because I just felt that most of the time you don't see it too much. With the hair on the other hand, seeing it's got that, it's very much a stubbly. What I've done is using a very watered down black ink and then using the paper towel just to dab it to remove some of that water from the hair. I'm just very, very lightly just creating a light grey look sort of thing from it. While we're doing the washes, then we're going to start looking at doing the washes for the likes of their base. And for their base, I'm going to use this flesh wash from Games Workshop. It is old, but it's really, really handy to give a very rusted look. Or if you water it down a lot, it's very good for doing soils, etc., as it will pool in areas and just make it a little bit more contrasting colours. To change the effect of the wash on it, you can do it by either two ways, by adding additional water to the actual brush after you've washed it, and this then removes some of that ink and lightens it, or using an already wet brush with water into the ink or wash effect to start off with. Obviously, if you put it in too heavy to start off with, it generally overpowers the colour. So by using the wash or water to dilute it afterwards can be really beneficial and helpful later on. Other techniques, you can use another dry brush after it to remove some, or also you can use paper towel to try and remove some of that wash. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this video of the models. Please like, please subscribe, and leave a comment if you're interested. But for now, I will see you on the table next time. Bye for now.